brisket chili. I have a 3-pound brisket here that I'm cutting into cubes, and I like using brisket for this recipe. It adds another layer of texture instead of that typical ground meat, and it also adds a richness of flavor. I'm gonna season it with my house seasoning, which you know is paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. I'm gonna sear it off in my Dutch oven and add the beans and cook it slow, so by the time the kids get here, it'll be nice and tender. So the next thing I'm gonna do is season my brisket with my house seasoning. Some smoked paprika to help bring out that smoky flavor, and some brown sugar to help caramelize this brisket. I like a little sweetness in my chili, which is odd for some people, but just a little bit of sweetness goes a long way in chili. When I was younger, I always thought chili was spicy because of all of the spices that you have in chili, but it doesn't have to be. And so because these are kids eating it, I like to add just a little bit of sugar so it won't be as spicy. Just give it a mix. I can smell it already. All right, so I've seasoned my brisket. I'm gonna wash my hands. All right, let me grab my brisket. I'm gonna oil my pan with a little canola oil so the brisket doesn't stick. I've been heating up my Dutch oven so it's nice and hot so I get a really nice sear on this brisket. Voila! Smells well seasoned already. So all I'm doing is just searing all sides of this brisket, and I'm also creating flavor at the bottom of the pan, because once this stuff browns, that's gonna create a layer of it looks like burnt on stuff, but it's not. It's actually really great seasoning at the bottom of this pan. And the fancy culinary term for this is called fond. So not only am I searing and creating a coat on the brisket, I'm also creating the first layer of flavor. All right, so I've seared one side, and look at this. Look at that beautiful layer of crunchy goodness on this brisket. When you're searing, you're also locking in the moisture and the flavor in your meat as well. While that side sears, I'm gonna cut up my veggie. I have a bell pepper, onion, and garlic. So the great thing about this recipe, not only is it good for cold weather and little chilly weather, here in Charleston, we have seasonably warm weather, but it does still get chilly at night. And when you think about chili, you wanna eat chili. It warms you up on the inside. Something about those spices. So it's the best thing to eat while camping. So I've got my onion chop, if you can tell by the tears. And now I'm roughly chopping 2 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna finish searing off my brisket, get these veggies cooked up, get the beans in, and let it cook low and slow for a few hours. So let me take out this brisket. It's so beautiful. And then that brown sugar just also adds a nice layer of just like caramelization on this brisket. I'd eat a bowl of that, brisket bites. I can eat chili for a few days. Make a big batch on a Sunday. I'll be done with it by Wednesday. Oh, and guess what, cousins? Not only am I making chili, I'm also making mini corn muffins to go with the chili. See, I like to crumble up that cornbread inside that chili. Woo! Now we're talking. Or if you like, you can also eat it with rice. But even though I am geeky to my heart, it's nothing better than cornbread and chili, not rice and chili. But I mean, either one works, but to each his own. I've seared off all of my meat. Now I'm gonna add in my veggies, the onion, bell pepper, and garlic. A little salt to help bring out some of that moisture and soften these veggies up. Grab a spoon, and I'm just gonna cook the veggies down until they become soft and the onion comes slightly translucent. And as I'm cooking, I'm scraping up all of those brown bits at the bottom to unlock all of that flavor. Add a tablespoon of beef bouillon. Now this stuff, you can find this on your soup aisle, and I like using this to enhance the beef flavor. And it's just overall a great seasoning for dishes, especially like for stews and chilies. All right, so now I'm gonna add my kidney beans, or my dark kidney beans, my light red, black beans, and I like using a variety of beans, not only for color, for texture and presentation. I just love beans. I've got some diced tomatoes here. I like a chunky chili. I'm gonna also add some crushed tomato for more of that tomato flavor and texture. All right, give it a mix. Oh, it smells so good. This chili with all of the tomatoes, the onions, the garlic. You can only imagine. I'm also gonna add some water, a little chili powder, and my secret, a pinch of cinnamon. Most people don't realize that cinnamon can be used in savory dishes too. Cinnamon adds another layer of depth to a dish without adding spicy heat. Ooh, I smell the cinnamon. As soon as it hit that liquid, oh my gosh. And now I'm just gonna add my brisket back into the pot. I'm gonna stir that brisket back into my pot. So I'm gonna let this simmer covered for a few hours. I'm gonna cook it until the kids get here. So the longer it cooks, the more that brisket is gonna break down and just melt with those beans. And I may take a little taste before the kids get here because this smells incredible. All right, so my chili has been cooking for a little while. I'm gonna check on it, taste it, make sure I don't need to add anything. Ooh, that looks good and it smells even better. Like the kids say, that chili is chillian.
My ultimate steak chili.
Ooh,
Starting with this steak, as you see in this large, enameled cast iron Dutch oven.
What kind of steak, Jeff?
This is the humble chuck roast.
Yes.
Cut up, you can trim some of the fat out. They're super affordable, but so beefy. And it's just so great for long, slow, low cooking. And that's what's really essential about a true chili. So this is kind of like upgrading the ground beef. And we're gonna brown this steak, right? So we cubed it about 4 pounds of chuck. We put in a searing hot with just a little bit of oil. We don't really season it too much. We've got some salt and pepper, but we don't have our spices. You want like at least one side that's like ready, that Maillard effect.
How's that taste? I wonder.
You want to try? You really want to try it? It's a beauty. Like, you know, chuck roast, you know, chuck rolled, all this chuck cut of steak. It's great for grinding, for burgers and everything. But for this application, right, we're going to low and slow it because it is a tougher cut.
Can I do anything?
Small dice on that onion, please.
Of course, you give me the onion to do.
Of
My
course,
eyes
no
are
fun.
always
And then
watering.
eventually maybe quarter those limes, and that's going to be for our little accoutrement platter later for the toppings.
Jeff, a controversial chili without beans. Which is it?
Well, I'm going to tell you guys. Do you see any beans in front of me?
I know, I'm just saying.
0 beans in this.
Yeah, we will invite you to Texas at any time.
Yes, it's
I know.
Texas.
Come on down to Texas.
I've made the
baby.
mistake before of putting beans in chili on this show in front of Sonny, not only, but in front of like maybe 50% of America was not happy with that decision.
I'm in the game of making people happy with food. So I will make my own chili recipe, and I will share that with no beans. But then I will also develop a recipe with beans in it for anyone that wants it. And that's what this is all about.
And how hard is
I'll
it
take it either way.
to adapt to your needs?
Yeah,
with
just throw the
just
can
throw a
in
can
there.
of
Yeah,
beans
just
in
throw
there.
it
I
in
mean, this
there.
is not like magic.
Yeah.
These aren't magic beans.
Can I report that your chuck is perfectly cooked? That's the beauty of chuck. It's usually what we're making our burgers out of.
Yeah.
You just need salt and pepper to make it sing because it's so beefy tasting.
And you can see all this beautiful rendered fat in there, right? We didn't put we just jump-started it with maybe a teaspoon of oil. People put too much oil
I agree.
in a hot pan when they're searing beef to get that color, to get that first kind of level of flavor on it. It is not necessary, especially with a fatty cut like chuck.
Well,
right?
what you
I learned a new skimming trick.
A
where
skimming trick?
Yeah, where you put the ice in the cheesecloth or the paper towel, and you're running around the top, and it picks up the fat, and then you just toss it.
Oh, that's going to be great for later when we're bubbling and simmering, and then you're about to serve, and you get that kind of extra layer of. Sometimes you need some fat in there, but not too much fat. All right, I have a jalapeno, some garlic on deck here.
Ooh.
But now we're going to take all these dry spices and let them bloom in all this beautiful fat. All right, a Mexican oregano. Love it. Get it from the Mexican grocery store. It's super affordable and so much more floral. A little bit of paprika.
Smoked or not?
Do it.
Unsmoked.
Okay.
Why do you ask? Because
Why do I
we're
ask?
using some ancho chili powder.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Oh.
Ooh. That's
Now
a
you
good
can
job.
smell, and some cumin, and I got my wooden spoon, and this is the magical moment essential for any chili. the blooming of the spices in the fat. Do not do this with the onions in there. Just give it's
good.
a little alone time with the fat.
Yeah,
And you
because
can
there's natural
immediately-
oils in all those dried herbs and spices. They need to wake up.
I mean, this is just like,
It's smelling good in here.
It sure does.
It's like
does.
you got the fire going,
so
TV's on, and this chili simmering. What a perfect
We need
snowy
some red
day.
wine or beer,
oh,
Jeff.
don't
Come
worry.
on.
We're gonna kind of, to drink?
Yeah, well,
Oh, 2 jalapenos seeded, stem, the ribs taken out. Just for that, a little extra boost of heat, of course, but that beautiful flavor, and that's why we took out the seeds. So the
I
flavor
can
remains.
smell the
It
heat.
smells
coming
that
off of
cumin
that.
smells
Yeah.
so good right,
Right?
now.
And that ancho chili
Yeah,
powder
but
gives it some
as soon
smoky
as you put
earthiness.
those peppers in, I could smell the heat.
And now we're just gonna kind of let this chill, get it all translucent. We're right before we got all our ingredients, we're gonna add our garlic because it's the most sensitive. Now you can see in here, right, how much we've developed those spices in there. The onions are translucent. All the flavor of the jalapeno is embedded with the spices.
Embedded.
And we've been scraping the fond off the bottom of the pan the whole time. Sometimes you need to add a little splash of water to kind of help,
That's
you know,
such a great
release it.
tip.
Yeah.
And if you think it's starting to burn, just that
Yeah.
little
Yes.
splash of water makes all the difference in the world.
I actually use a
Or
little
beer.
stout.
A little stout,
Yeah.
a little beer would be great if you're, you know,
One in,
partaking.
one out.
But, you know, you just don't want to skip this step. You do
No.
not want to rush this step at all.
Right.
You want to develop all that flavor. We have our liquids handy. Okay, so I know you were talking about in the break about where's the tomato sauce, where the paste. I have used just a little bit of crushed tomatoes.
That's fresh, right?
Fresh crushed tomatoes and kind of work that in and let that simmer and
fresh
develop.
or canned?
Canned.
Canned.
Okay.
Right, but not tomato paste, if that's
Right.
what you're asking. And this just kind of sweetens it all up. But then for our final liquid,
Ooh.
keeping nice and warm
What's
here.
this?
Just a little beef
Oh,
stock.
beef
Oh, okay.
stock.
Oh, there you go. Or,
Bring it.
is that bone
Okay,
broth,
so
Jeff?
why do you
Fortify-
heat it up
fortify the
before you put it
flavors.
in there?
Why do I heat it up before I put it in there? Superb question, Katie.
Uh-huh.
You want it ready to go. You don't want to wait for all this to come up to a simmer.
Yeah.
So if this is simmering warm, you're eating quicker.
Like risotto.
Hungry. We
This needs
hungry.
2 hours
We've
to
been
cook.
skiing, you know what I mean? We
Right?
hungry.
We're hungry, man.
Yeah.
You got people, right? They
Isn't that just another pan to wash, Jeff?
right?
He's skiing. Are you kidding me? They've rented a chalet. They've
Yeah,
got a
we-
servant.
Like we were not
maid.
washing dishes. We were-
No, we do. We do have some pictures of us. You did mention. I hold my
Let's
team.
see.
This
Oh.
remember that, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
That's when we went dog,
Dog sledding with this real dog sledding.
And that's Jeffrey
Taco
and I
night.
literally après ski. I got
Look
my
at
fun
you.
sweater. Jeffrey's obviously head to toe in
That-
cashmere.
Yeah, it's
Easy.
obvious.
Totally
Help
normal.
this guy out with the clothes.
I'm
Let's-
sorry.
I tell
can't
you, I
help
do
myself.
love thinking about you guys on vacation
It's
together.
adorable.
It
Yeah.
really, we did have so much fun. I mean, I ski
nonstop.
at least once a year, every couple years, but that was the first time skiing with
Yeah.
Zakarian.
We're doing that again.
I know we're trying to plan it,
Yeah, another
coordinate
one.
schedules. All right, now it's time to add that chuck that we seared right back in there. Look at all those accumulated juices.
Oh,
That needs
Jeff.
to go in there. Boom, right?
Yeah.
Slide.
Get it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't want to
No.
ruin the gear, the fit, as the kids say. Now we have all
The
this
drip.
lovely. It's already starting to simmer. We're gonna cover it. We're gonna simmer it. Sometimes you got to take the cover off. You know, just see how much liquid you want in there, right? If you simmer without the lid on, you're gonna lose a lot of that water. It's gonna become thicker. You might have to add more stock. But if you want to kind of expedite the process, you can keep the lid on. 2 hours this needs.
At
Okay?
least.
At least. To just make sure that beef
Expedite
is
the process by
braised.
keeping the lid on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just remember that. If you're like barely a simmer and you put the lid on, it's gonna double that. I mean, it's gonna start aggressively simmering. So you wanna make sure you keep an eye on the lid. Katie, really quick, I'm sorry, I
Yes.
should have had you do this
Oh,
earlier.
I was so into
Slice up that
watching.
avocado for my toppings bar.
All right, you
can
got it.
crush up some of those chips, leave some of the chips whole for a little Dunkenstein later. But boom, 2 hours. How you doing?
Oh.
How you been? How's the family?
How you
Very
doing,
good.
Jeff?
Look at that. Now we can.
Okay, you got to double that recipe.
Oh, now that is.
Yeah, I got to freeze half.
That looks crazy.
simmered 2 hours. All right, lower the heat. We don't need to serve literally bubbling chili to our peoples. But we have a nice little kind of assortment of some of my favorite toppings, which just kind of adds texture, acidity, crunch, everything to the party, creaminess. Just right before serving, you can serve some of these, obviously, limes with them. But I like to give a couple just fresh little
Smart.
squeezes of
Brightness.
last-minute lime here to kind of
Smart.
bump up the acidity and then round it out. This is a very rich dish, and we can do the defatting too if you so choose. We got the fresh lime for a little extra. We got the cream element from the sour cream. How's it going? Some crispy French fried onions for a little onion element. Some of these crunchy corns right out of the bank, real salty and fun. some fresh cilantro, the crushed chips that Katie did wonderfully. I didn't know if you
That
could
was
complete
really
the task.
difficult.
We got the avocado, a little extra creaminess. And some little cornbread muffins. Come on. So you tell me what you want, Sonny, and I'm here for you.
Todo, por favor, mi amigo.
I love when you do the cornbread and
Aquí.
it gets, that's like your thickening agent for your chili.
Like, there is no shortage of
Can I
beef.
just note again?
Look at this.
I learned so much from you, Katie, because you were tasked to make garnish for all of us. And this is the amount that you put on the plate. This to me is garnish for one bowl of chili.
I was Russian.
Okay.
You know what'd be good on
but
this, Jeff?
I say to myself, okay, I can take it down a notch.
You got any pickled jalapenos?
You like
Oh, that would be
pickled
great,
onions on
too.
yours?
I
Thank
think-
you.
Or pickled onions would be great.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
We're in my
Look at
face.
this.
Can we get anything
Look
else in
at
that
this.
bowl?
Yeah. Get it all in, dude. You got chips on it too?
This smells so good,
Yeah.
you guys.
I'm
Oh
in.
my gosh.
I mean,
Spoon me.
Wow.
I'm gonna actually make an authentic Texas chili, and then I'm gonna add just a couple more flavor elements, kind of like my own kind of take on it. But it's gonna be excellent, and I'm gonna arm you with one of the best recipes I've ever come up with.
Maybe I'll win a chili cook-off one day.
Yeah, if you win a chili contest, man,
I'll give you the credit.
No. All right, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna make a chili powder from scratch, right?
Okay.
We got a flame here, right, in a pan. All right, so we're gonna start off first with some ancho chilies. And these are dried smoked poblano chilies.
Right.
I wanna take the seeds out, okay, because I just want the flavor from the pulp right now. I'm gonna add these to the saute pan because I wanna warm up the flavors a little bit, all right? They're kind of sleeping right now. They've been kind of dried out for a little while. I'm also gonna add, all right, some cumin to this. I'm also gonna add some coriander seeds, right? I'm also gonna add a little bit of dried oregano to this. Starting to kind of get a little smoky already, but that's a good thing. I want to kind of wake everything up, right? Some paprika. I'm also going to add some chili powder to this.
That's starting to smell good already.
Yeah, it's going to start to smell good in a couple minutes. I'm going to mace everybody out of the house. Like, whoa! All right, so I'll put the stuff into a Cuisinart.
So that was just like a minute or so.
A minute, but you can see the smoke?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't take long. Okay, so lock this up like that. What I want to do is I want to break up the ancho chilies and everything else, and basically I'm going to make my own spice mix. This smells delicious.
Oh, man.
All right, so I'm going to take this, let's kind of decant it. Okay, can't put this away for right now. Okay, and then we're going to chop up some beef shoulder, which I think is a really kind of important part of the recipe. All right, so what are we going to do? So you got your piece.
Okay.
I got mine. So how many people are coming over later?
A lot of people in the neighborhood already know
neighborhood,
about
right?
this. The neighbors.
So Tyler's in town. Tyler's in town. Food's coming. Okay, so we got, all right, boom. So you grab your knife.
Got a knife.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this up. I think kind of scale this down. The pieces have to be kind of consistent. It's kind of important at this point. I think like that. Yeah, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4.
Okay.
Like that. So I think as long as it's not perfect, just consistent in size. Okay, so we got that, right? Then we cut up an onion, like that. You've got one. I've got one. Boom. Okay, so it's like onions and garlic. Chop the whole thing up. All right, I got a big pot. Put on top of the stove. Don't cry. I know it's beautiful. I know it's a beautiful thing, man. You don't have to cry, man. Don't cry. All right, cool. Okay, so we got, all right, boom. All right, so we're gonna take the pot. I'm gonna warm this stuff up. Onions maybe cry too, man. All right.
Beautiful sunsets, too.
Beautiful sunsets,
Yeah.
long walks on the beach, lime jello, puppies. Sends me to the floor. Okay, so we got garlic and onions. I'm gonna start cooking this stuff. All right. I'm gonna cook this down until it starts to caramelize a little bit, right? Because I really want to start to flavor the beef, and this is when we start layering our flavors together, right?
Right.
Boom. This probably take like 12 minutes or so. All right, Stan, check this out.
Okay.
All right, so onions are starting to caramelize down a little bit, right?
Right.
Okay, at this point, we're gonna take the meat, right? We'll throw this in. Okay. Boom. There you go. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do is kind of toss all those kind of deliciously happy garlic and onion flavor all throughout
Just
the meat.
get it browned.
Yeah, I'm gonna brown the beef off a little bit, right? Then we're gonna start adding all the flavors to it. All right, cool. This will probably take, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. All right, so I think we can go and start seasoning it up now. So we start off with 2 tablespoons, or maybe
A little more. There you go.
like that. So I'm gonna take 1 chipotle, just 1, okay? I'm gonna throw that in there on top of that. All right, and I'm gonna take, like, what, jalapeno? What, half jalapeno? What do you think?
Half a
Half a jalapeno, because we can always add a little more.
jalapeno.
Jalapeno, baby. Okay, I'm gonna add the seeds and everything to that, right?
Right.
Okay, so probably I think 2 28-ounce cans of hand-crushed tomatoes. Boom, you can throw that if you want.
Okay.
All right, cool. Just give us a good stir. Okay, and then we'll take some cinnamon. Okay, it's like a bark of, this is Mexican cinnamon.
Yes.
All right, it's really, really nice. I'm gonna take a little piece of, smell that? Awesome, right?
Cinnamon.
All right, a little cinnamon stick in there. Okay, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar. It's gonna make it taste well-rounded. And then I'm gonna cap it off with water. All right, and I'm just gonna let this stew. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a good stir. Okay, let this cook down for about like an hour, hour and a half until the meat starts to fall apart. And like I said before, we're gonna tighten up a little bit of mozzarella, and then also we get some like good little kind of my little secret flavors. I'll give you a little.
I can't wait for that. I need the advantage when I go out there.
Okay, so our chili, right? If you guys want to take a look at this, right? See how it's starting to break down like that?
Yeah.
Did you pull that apart?
Yeah, so what you do basically, right, is take 2 forks or a fork and a spoon or whatever, and just kind of shred it.
Just keep shredding it.
Yeah, just shred it, because that's the whole thing about Texas chili is kind of creamy, you know what I mean? Like, it's just sort of like, it's like all sort of meat and chilies, and it's just delicious, right? But it's not incredibly spicy as much as it is flavorful, right? All right, so I think it needs 10 minutes. I'm gonna let it sort of what they call cure at this point, right? I'm just gonna everything's done. I'm just gonna turn it off and just let it sit for a little bit, let this flavor start to marry together, let it relax. Okay. Let's talk about this chili for a sec. All right, this is authentic Mexican chocolate. Kind of break it up into the chili. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some masa harina. Right, it's gonna thicken it up, it's gonna cream it out at the same time. So put it back on the stove. I'm gonna stir in the mozzarella. All right, and this is gonna take just a little time to cook to finish up, but this is kind of like that great little touch, and it smells so incredibly Texan. Take a look at it, guys.
Wow, it's very creamy.
See how it starts to thicken up in the mozzarella? How awesome.
You don't really see the chunks so much anymore.
Should we do it?
You're gonna give us a taste finally?
Finally.
That time of the day? That time of the day? All right, just try that, because this is like one of the purest flavors, right? It's traditional, authentic American cooking. Texas chili, once you taste it, and nothing else in the world compares.
Oh my.
Oh my
That
God.
is good. Oh
That
yes.
is the way chili needs to be.
This is my slow cooker chili.
Alex G.
I love the slow cooker.
Day ready.
So I've got 2 pounds of ground beef here. I'm browning a little bit. Jeffrey, just slice scallions,
I got it.
wedge lemon, dice avocado. And once the meat is browned, I just put it into a bowl. This is 2 pounds of ground beef. Chuck.
Any ground beef?
Chuck.
Chuck, okay.
Big fan.
Love Chuck.
There's no 97.3 here.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
Can't.
chili, I want that layer of fat.
You want to see your
On
reflection
the top,
in the chili.
yeah.
You want to be able to do your makeup or blow dry your hair if you're Jeffrey in the chili grease.
So I like to cook everything before and then just put it all in the slow cooker.
Okay.
I think there's something to a little stovetop before. Some things I just throw them in the slow cooker and that's it.
Well, they have some slow cookers that actually have a searing function.
True.
So you can do it inside the slow cooker itself and leave the dishes out of it.
Oh, I agree. This is, because it's a decent size, volume of onions and beef, I like the big pan and the brown. I can't quite get that
Sear.
surface area sear inside the slow cooker, but big fan, for example, a spiralized ham, apple cider, tons of spices, and just throw it on. I love stuff like that. Little olive oil, not too much. We need, just to get to the reflection in the chili. I love that.
Exactly. Piece by
8
piece.
cloves of garlic.
Wow, we could.
8, not 9. 8.
Eight.
Okay.
1 Fresno chili sliced up.
How
You
you
can
doing?
leave out the seeds.
Fresnos are having a moment
love
this year, you know?
They're my favorite because they're flowery.
They
to me,
really
they're
are.
floral, and I like when the heat gets you, but you also get this sort of
Flavor.
yeah, you get a lot of taste. It really is. It's almost like the floral note of the Fresno picks up on the sweetness of the ingredients.
Gotcha.
Speaking of which, sliced red bell pepper, and I leave some things kind of big because this is gonna cook for 8 hours.
It'll
people.
disintegrate.
Tomato paste, you need it.
You want it.
Tomato paste is just tomatoes cooked down, down, down. It's thyme in a tube. You know what I
I
mean?
like that.
Yeah.
You capture time in a tube.
And we just kind of let all this get nice and mixed together. In the slow cooker, a can of whole tomatoes. I always go whole.
Love it.
Lots of chili powder, 2 tablespoons, bay leaf, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of ground allspice, 2 tablespoons of red pepper flakes. Goodbye.
I love the allspice.
Oh, we're getting that Cincinnati vibe right there.
Yeah, you're right. Water. Gotta have that water.
Delicious.
Couple cups.
You know you can't live without it.
Yeah, you know, you could, I mean, you could put stock or something in here, but I just don't even think it's
If you're
necessary.
cooking it that long, you don't need to waste the stock on it.
I agree. It's 1 BTU burner I love. You get used to a restaurant, you know, where
I know what
something's
that
cooked in 1 minute.
I know,
tell
it's,
you?
I'm moving into a house and I'm just trying to, like, my only question was, is there enough gas pressure? I could really care less about anything else, because
That's the
I
only
have a guy,
question you
Jeezy. I
ask.
have a
that's
guy.
one of the only questions, because you cook all the time and you're like, if it's a little thing and you're like, oh my gosh, this looks
So this
so
is
good.
the sort of the beating heart of it, right? The onions, the garlic, the meat. And to my mind, there's something different about mixing it all together and then adding it. There just is. Yeah, watch the splatter. Jeffrey just went 20 miles away. Right in there.
Hey, self-preservation.
Right in there. Everything, you know, I'm big on the heat-proof rubber spatulas to get everything. Just mix a little bit. You're gonna come back to this a little bit and stir. So just bring it down to the bottom a little till you see the bay leaf and some of those
you see the
tomatoes.
bay leaf.
And then, of course, you add in 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
Oh, ACV.
ACV in there, people. Look at you, Jeffrey's got everything all ready. Cover it, cook on low for 8 hours.
8.
Low
Okay.
8. That's a good in it.
Low on
Slow
8.
cooker is pretty much.
Not 6, 8.
You're good to go.
Now, 30 minutes before I add cooked black beans, stir them in. Okay, scallions, avocado, diced up. I like a dice on the avocado, people. I do. I like those little bits. Sour cream cheese. Here it is, the moment of truth.
Oh, no.
This is one of my
Anybody
favorite,
from Jim's
favorite
Spaghetti
meals.
House watching whether my beef has that cookedness? I
think
do
we're ever
see
gonna
my
spend-
reflection, though, Jeff.
That's very important.
Look at this.
8
I
hours.
mean, this is
Meaty.
perfection.
I am making for you my fries. But it's not just any fry. It's my Nunya business chili on top of my fries, and I'm just gonna load it up just like I do at the stadium. So let me show you how I get it started right here. In my pot, I've got some olive oil and some onions, just getting sauteed and rendering down nice and tender and translucent. And to that, I'm gonna add in some garlic. Now, this is my easy Nunya business chili. Very simple to make. Usually chili is all kinds of layers of flavor and, you know, maybe 30 to 45 minutes of percolating on the stove top. This is gonna be done in a minute. All right, so into that olive oil, I just said the oil, but I added a little bit of the garlic. You can smell it right now, nice and fragrant. To that, a little bit of cumin. I love cumin in my chili. Just makes it taste like meat, if you ask me. And that's another trick. You add ingredients that are gonna bring the flavor. Now, I've got my pot here on kind of like a medium to medium high. Move everything around. And adding the oil and the spices right now really blooms the spices. So I'm gonna add in some chili powder. And blooming just really means bringing it back to life, you know? A lot of times when you buy spices at the grocery store, it's already been ground up for like maybe 6 months to a year. So as it sits there and those natural oils are just kind of dormant in that bottle, you gotta bring it back to life and it just starts to really smell and taste like it should. And to that, I'm gonna add in my ground beef and then just go in there and break it up. Oh, it just started to snow. Perfect football weather. Okay, so as we're going into the pot here with a pound of beef, I like to add a teaspoon of salt, and that's a really good ratio for every pound of ground meat. A teaspoon of salt will get it to the perfect flavor level for you. You don't have to worry about like tasting and wondering. So right over the top, some salt. And then anytime you think salt, you gotta think pepper. Get that in there. I always end up loosening the top, right? When you loosen the top, there's a plate in the bottom. It takes the plate further apart from each other, the grinder, and it'll give you a bigger, coarser grind of pepper. So the looser, the bigger boulders you get, and the tighter, the finer pepper you get. Get that in there. I like a lot of pepper. And then just start moving it around and breaking it up. This is a really good all-purpose game day chili. All right, so see that beef is nice and browned. Now it's time for the Nunya part, okay? Usually, so much work to get the flavor into a chili.
phone it in with some jarred marinara sauce, right? It's got everything in it you want, the oregano, probably some basil in there, the garlic, the onions. Yeah, we just put some onions in there. It's just so we felt like we did something. But this is really bringing the flavor right here. Pour that right in. Get as much of that out as I can. Oh, yeah. There you go. Stir this up. All right, so look at that. All came together so quick. Minimal ingredients. They all packed a flavor punch. And I gotta take a look at these fries. I'm gonna let this percolate for a second, but I got the fries in here. Yes, yes. Okay, let me crinkle fries, obviously. I think crinkle fries when you're doing any kind of sauce like cheese or chili over the top, really, really smart because they're kind of like the fusilli of fries. They catch all the sauce in the ridges. And they have a little bit more of like structure, right? They're like the rebar of fries as well. Over the top of my fries, now this is not at the stadium, but I like some scallions. So hey, why not chop these up really quick and get these into the game plan. I just enjoy the whole fanfare of going to the game, eating outside in the open air, and then enjoying a drink or two while you watch your team. All right, scallions good to go. It's time to get this baby put together. All right, so I've already got some other chili right here. Bring this big baby over. Then cannot forget the cheese sauce. Close this up. And now it's just to put it together. Oh, come on. Look at this. Katie, I know you love chili. Check this out, girlfriend. Nunya business chili.
Ooh, that sounds so good. Extra cheese, please.
You know it, girlfriend. And it's another Nunya business hit because I did not make the cheese sauce. Just heating it up. A little bit of cheese sauce. Come on. Buy it, heat it up. None of your business. The cascade, as Jeff would say. That looks delicious. All right, remember scallions over the top, a little bit of a crunch. And then, just like at the stadium, some sliced pickled jalapenos. Get them at the nacho station. I'm telling you, I will take that tray of fries all around that section just to get every topping that I want on it.
I'm making a slow cooker white chicken chili. It's all the good things about chili, but with white beans and chicken, and boy, is it phenomenal. Put a bunch of chicken breasts in there, and now I'll whip up a spice mix. Let's start with cumin, coriander, which is really tasty, paprika, some crushed red pepper flakes, some oregano, and then salt. And instead of black pepper, I'm gonna use white pepper since it's white chicken chili. I'm gonna keep things pure and holy. I'm just gonna sprinkle the spice mix right over the chicken. And now I've got a bunch of good veggies to add. I diced up a bunch of onion. I mean, this is a pile, but this makes a big batch of chili. Okay, I've also got garlic. Can't have chili without a pile of garlic. And for heat, I sliced up some fresh jalapenos. I didn't even seed them. This is such a big batch that it won't be too overpowering. And then I've got 4 stalks of celery. This year, everything has changed in our household. Bryce is officially playing football for Pawhuska schools, so he's not going to the homeschool co-op in Tulsa anymore. Lad is one of the coaches of the high school football team here in Pawhuska. So they basically are at football practice all the time. Okay, just a little more chopping. That is a lot of celery too. A lot of onions, a lot of celery, a lot of flavor. Okay, I've got a couple of green bell peppers. I'm just gonna chop them up, reach in and pull out the seeds. I'm gonna keep the peppers in pretty big chunks. White chicken chili is so good. It's really basically like chicken and bean soup, but when you add all these chili seasonings, it pretty much turns into chili. We're definitely moving into that football time of year. It always sets in every August. First of all, there's high school football games. There's junior high football games. They watch college football on TV, pro football on TV, and when that's not happening, they're talking about football. Now, part of that picture is Lad and I have opposing alma maters. We both went to Pac-12 schools, and our schools are rivals. So when our two teams play each other on TV, I have to watch it in the other room because neither Lad nor I can stand to listen to the other one cheer on their team. It's amazing we've stayed married this long. We are a house divided. So the peppers go in. What I try to do is fill the slow cooker as full as I can, and that means we're gonna have lots of good leftovers. Okay, now in addition to the green peppers, I like to add roasted green chilies that are chopped. I don't even drain them, I just pour them right in. So in go the beans. These are Great Northern white beans, and I soaked them overnight and then gave them a good rinse. And finally, the liquid. Low sodium chicken broth. White chicken chili is so good because you can dress it up and make it elegant. Serve it with some really nice cornbread sticks, or you can dress it down. Just throw it into a mug and eat it in front of the TV. Lid goes on. Now I've got a few more things I've got to do to the chili later. I'll fill you in on that while I run to town. I'll put it on 8 hours on low. I'm gonna go get B-Man. So I'm headed into Pawhuska to pick up Bryce at football practice. And just as I promised, I want to tell you how I finish off the chili. So 30 minutes before the cooking time's up, I'll add a mix of milk and masa to thicken the chili. Then throw in frozen sweet corn, stir it, and give it another 30 minutes. When the cooking time's up, there are just a few more steps before serving. I'll take the chicken out, shred it, and get the chicken back in. I'll add some lime juice, Monterey Jack cheese, and stir it together. So now it's time to serve up the chili. Get ready, it's gonna be delicious. Everybody gets a big bowl full of the good stuff with a dollop of sour cream, extra cheese, of course, chopped cilantro, and some rolled up warmed corn tortillas on the side to complete the picture.
Texas-style chili. So a little bit of olive oil, the onions right now. We're gonna use some Anaheims right here, okay? Some red bell, look at that, just sweating up nice. This Fresno chili here, I'm not too worried about the heat on it. Pretty mild, so I'll just give it a couple slices down the front. So far, so good, huh? Okay, add a little bit of salt to it. Let's get into dry chilies. Now, this is really the foundation of this chili. What we're first starting off is with some chili d'arbol, which is nice and spicy, the ancho, and guajillo. So now I'm gonna reconstitute them with just a little bit of hot water, okay? I'm gonna do it right there in that pan. And those are gonna go directly into the chili in just a minute. Speaking of the chili, I need to get those peppers and onions out of there because now I have got some top round that I want to brown off. And we're talking about, I don't want it to be interrupted. I really want to build some crust, kind of like we're searing a short rib. So what I want to do is get all these out, because you leave just a little bit of this in there. There's a lot of moisture. It'll keep the meat from really browning up. Look how beautiful, huh? So we'll just hit it with a little touch of some salt, and we'll just drop it, crank that pan back up, right back in. There we go. Nice little sear gonna happen to that. And I also have some ground beef that I'll put in a little bit. I like to have two of the textures. It needs a little bit of this garlic. So I have these reconstituted guajillos, chili d'arbol, and anchos, okay? Hit that, a little bit of power, puree it. There we go. We'll dump this right in here on with the meat, in with that garlic that I just added. That's where your real flavor is coming from. Let me drop this in. Sweated peppers and onions that we had from earlier. And that all gets mixed together. Look at that. Look, take a look inside of this. Now it's time to go build another layer of seasoning. So I've done some salt and pepper, got the peppers and the garlic. Now we'll do a touch of cayenne, a little oregano, a little bit of cumin. Gotta have a little kiss of cinnamon. 2 quarts of beef stock. We're gonna let this go in here. It's gonna cook down, believe it or not, for 2 hours. Beer cheddar cheese sauce. So start with a roux, a little half and half. Not too much half and half because we're adding in a full beer. Nice amber beer, so you're gonna get that deep, rich beer flavor. Drop it in some sharp cheddar, a little touch of cayenne, dry mustard. Gotta have that little tang in there from the dry mustard. A little bit of Worcestershire, a little touch of paprika. Okay, I'll let that go. Get some cream cheese. We got beer, we've got chili. We'll lay that right in like that. And we'll just let this go low and slow till it breaks up that cream cheese. There we go. Okay, but what I want to do right now, I want to get a little bit of beer and I want to get a little bit of masa harina. And I also want to add a little bit of paprika. There we go. So we're going to mix this up. So we'll just slowly incorporate this in. And this is gonna work as an awesome thickener. It kind of plays right into the theme of Texas and chili and Tex-Mex. You take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me that is not gorgeous. Right on top there. Look at that. All right, now what I got going over here, well, I've got some jalapeno peppers, some red bell, and some onions cooking down in a little bit of pancetta bacon fat, as well as some butter. Now, here's a little trick I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna slide this back a little bit, kind of put my burner back here on this side, let the onions hang out over here on this side. When you wanna make a great burger, get some boneless chuck or some boneless sirloin and have the butcher grind it for you and make it. Well, you throw some boneless chuck into this chili, you're gonna be a winner. Okay. Run that over right into what I'm showing you here, about a 1/4-inch piece, because it does need to cook down a little bit, but take a look at that. Little nuggets of deliciousness, okay? So these bad boys back into the hot side of the pan. I got some Anaheims and Poblanos that I went through here and roasted and then threw in a bowl covered with plastic, let their own internal temperature sweat their skins off. And this is going all into my Dragon's Breath chili, which you see working right here. Wow, I got some peppers, some boneless chuck, and some onions going down, some jalapenos in there so far. I need to clean this last pepper up and get this skin off of here. Now, saving all that for my compost. And get these in. The roasted flavor of these peppers is really gonna add some depth to this chili. And that's kind of one of the things about my chili is it's got a lot of layers. Slowly cooking the peppers, slowly cooking the onions, getting the garlic in there, kind of letting everything go at its own rate, its own stage. And these get mixed in like this. Now, I've got some Italian sausage here. It's gonna go down. So you're gonna get great flavor out of this from the pork, as well as some fat mixed into it. Fat is flavor. And then look at that, little ground chuck and chili grind, so nice and thick. So got different textures of meat, different layers of peppers, different styles of flavors. There's some real complexity to this. Well, a little granulated garlic, of course, has got to work its way in there. About 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon. A little coriander, can't beat that flavor. There's, like I said, we talk about complexity. Same amount there. Little hot paprika. Now, a lot of times I'm talking about paprika and it just being kind of a smoky paprika or neutral. This has actually got a little bit of kick to it. There's gonna be some of the dimension of heat. We got the jalapeno in there. A little granulated onion, even though we have some in the granulated, will actually carry the flavor further. And a little bit of cumin, cumino. You can't beat it, especially with a little southwestern influence in this chili with some of the roasted poblanos and Anaheims. Okay, everybody in the pool so far. Cayenne, this is where you're getting the big heat from. But I'm not gonna make, with having the boys, Hunter and Ryder, I don't wanna make it too spicy. And a little chili powder. Okay. Now, I deglazed this with some beer, hit a little chicken stock, tomato paste, tomato sauce, kidney beans, pinto beans, everybody in the pool, and let it go low and slow. Look at this, okay? Now, let me just get a little taste on this real quick, because I need to add some salt and pepper. Little fresh cracked black, and a little touch of some salt, Stir that in. This is on point. Okay, so let me actually build this up real quick. I like to throw some fries down around the sides. There we go. Get this bad boy in here. Right on top of some of the fries. Hit a little bit of the cheese on top. Some green onion. Get in for another taste. Ah, primo.
My friend Patricia's coming after a really long trip from Paris. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to just greet her with like big steaming bowls of chili? But since she's being really good, I thought maybe instead of making beef chili, I'd make chicken chili. So I've got about 4 cups of onions and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and they've cooked until you can really smell them. About 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna add lots of good stuff. 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. This is gonna be really good. You wanna cook the garlic for just a minute so it doesn't get really bitter. And 2 yellow peppers and 2 red peppers. This is a really quick way to cut peppers. Just straight down. And then what's left over you can use for snacking. And I'm just gonna do big chunks. I think chili should be big chunks of good stuff. So, peppers. Good thing about chili is you can make it days in advance and it's just delicious. In fact, it's even better. So all the flavors blend together. So what we'll have is a big hearty stew, lots of vegetables, chicken. Okay, now all the good spices. First thing, of course, is chili powder. So I've got a teaspoon of chili powder. Teaspoon of cumin, which is a really essential ingredient in all chilies. And then these are the things that make it hot. Red pepper, just sort of a pinch of it, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon, and then cayenne pepper, which is really hot. So use it at your own risk. I like when things have a lot of flavor and a little bit of heat, but if you like it really hot, just add more. Okay, and then lots of salt. It's really critical for bringing out the flavor and the spices. So 2 teaspoons of salt. This is great. And I'm gonna cook that for about a minute while I get the tomatoes ready. Okay, I'll show you about the tomatoes. I always make this with canned tomatoes. Life's too short to peel a tomato. So I'm just gonna chop them up really quickly. I'm gonna put in 2 28-ounce cans of tomatoes. Try not to get it all over the kitchen like I do. And into the sauce. Give it a stir. So most chili has cilantro in it, but I personally hate cilantro, so I'm gonna put basil in instead. It gives it great flavor. Just take the leaves off. And just give it a really rough chop. So maybe about a 1/4 cup should be good. Wonderful. So this is gonna cook for about 30 minutes. And the chicken smells like it's just about done. You can tell when the chicken's done when it springs back when you touch it. Ow, that's hot. You think there's enough chicken for Patricia and me? So I'm gonna let that cool. I'm gonna add it to the sauce, and Patricia and I are gonna have delicious chicken chili. We've got chicken chili.
Wow.
Really hot.
Oh, can I bring
It's
these
bubbling
over?
away.
Can I
Yeah, bring the plates
use your
over.
place?
Fabulous. I don't know what time zone you're in, but I hope you're ready
I'm
for chicken chili.
I'm starving
You're
in any time
Oh,
zone.
good.
All time zones. Very Ina dish.
It's a very Ina dish, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, great. Is that good?
Terrific.
Okay, fabulous. Turn
Let's
it off
eat.
and let's have fun. So we got all kinds of toppings: cheese,
Oh, I want some
tomatoes,
cheese. I love cheese.
little sour cream. Gotta
Yeah.
have a little sour cream.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Some chips.
Did you just create this like in the shower one morning or something?
Well, you know, I always made beef chili, and I just thought,
Right.
wouldn't it be healthier if I made chicken chili? So I just put chicken in instead.
Brilliant.
It's been
Brilliant.
been one of Jeffrey's favorites.
This is my simple, perfect chili, and it really is just that. It's a total cinch to make. I just throw 2 pounds of ground beef into a large pot with 2 cloves of chopped garlic. Then cook it till it browns. While that's happening, I mix up the herbs and spices. 1 teaspoon of ground oregano, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Then I add an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, the spices, and give it a good stir. Put on the lid and simmer it for an hour. After that, I grab a 1/4 cup of masa mixed with 1/2 cup of water. Masa is corn flour, and it thickens the chili and adds a great corn flavor. After an hour, I dump the masa mixture into the chili, stir it together well, then let it simmer for a few more minutes. Then it's done. Simply perfect. Okay, I just snipped the bags open. Dinner doesn't get much easier than this, does it? And I'm just gonna place them in the pot and then just pour some water over the top. And then heat them up and the water will eventually evaporate and it'll be perfect. All right, the chili's thawed. I'll just throw the beans in. I'm using kidney beans and pinto beans, but you can use whatever beans you have in your pantry. And I'm just gonna let this simmer gently until they get back from moving cattle around. And then I've got some fixins ready for the chili. The great thing about these fixins is they're all pantry and fridge standbys. I've got tortilla chips, lime wedges, red onion, and of course, grated cheese. You gotta have lots and lots of grated cheese when you serve chili. All right, who wants chili? There you go, Alex Marie.
1 scoop, please.
1 scoop for Todd? Daddy, how many scoops?
I'll take 3 to start off with. Then I might have to eat Bryce's.
That does look good.